You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. Welcome into another edition of Inside Automotive right here at cbtnews.com. With new tariffs now in effect, costs might be out of a dealer's control. One thing isn't: how customers are treated in the showroom. Today, we're talking about what you can do to strengthen the customer experience during this time. Joining us now is Shep Hyken, customer service and experience expert, New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. Thank you so much, Shep, for taking the time out of your schedule. What can dealers do to maintain transparency and trust with customers that are going to come into the showroom with a lot of questions and a lot of concerns?
Right. Well, I think you just hit on the biggest word: transparency. Yeah. And this, by the way, this is nothing new. It was back in July, I believe, of 2018, when President Trump was in office for the first time. Same thing happened. Tariffs were raised. I had a great interview with a gentleman that had an e-bike company. Mm-hmm. And he had to raise his prices. His import tariff was about 25%. So he had to raise his prices. And he knew that because he imported a lot of the parts, that his prices were going to go up. And he simply did this. He explained exactly why the prices were going up and specifically what parts of the bike were attributable to the price increase. So it's not like if we talk about, I'll just give you an example. We talk about, okay, there's a 30% tariff. Not everything in that car that an automotive dealer is going to sell is going to be tied to that 30% tariff. So the price is going to go up, but it probably won't go up 30%. Here's what I offer up as a thought. Number one, recognize that every dealer is going to have their way of handling it. The last thing you want to say is, go somewhere else, you'll see it's the same thing. And because it is, right?
Right.
Okay. And so what we need to do is we got to say, this is why, and this is what we're doing to help you get the best price possible. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I would sacrifice a little bit of profit. I don't expect anybody would want to lose money on any car, but I would say, what can we do to mitigate the cost increase? Maybe not make quite as much money, but in the process, build the trust with our customers. Now, how do we make a little less money and not really lose money and still adapt to the tariffs? And that is, let's go to every vendor that we do business with. A dealership has, it could be the advertising vendors, it could be anything. Right. It doesn't matter. Go to them and say, look, I don't want you to lose money, but we need to find a way to shave some costs in order to be able to pass some savings from these tariffs onto our customers. Mm-hmm. And let's partner. And by the way, a partner is a vendor relationship on steroids. And you want your customers to view you as a partner for their automotive needs. But we also need to go to our vendors who supply us and support us, and we pay for their goods and services to sit down and collectively do this. Now, where did I learn about this first? Many, many years ago, I wrote an article about what Ford did when they decided they need to trim, I believe it was about 10% of the cost of manufacturing their vehicles. Mm-hmm. And rather than just go to their vendors and suppliers and say, okay, guys, you need to cut prices, they sat down and figured out a way where maybe they did cut prices, but they did so in such a way where they didn't lose any money. Yeah. They just came up with another way of handling it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. It does, actually. And you're right. Every dealership has got a ton of vendors that they do business with, and it's a good idea. We saw some of that taking place during COVID when we weren't really too sure about which way COVID was going to go. In March of 2020, dealers did sit down with their vendors and say, hey, you got to give us a break here or there because we don't know what's happening. Of course, that kind of changed by the time May or June rolled around, and it looked like the car business was going to take off again. And of course, that's when that partnership worked its best, because the vendors said, hey, we're in this together. Let's get back to where we were before this thing hit in March. And so I agree with you. That's a great idea.
And by the way, it's important to say we're in this together.
Right.
And because let me tell you, if sales slump because of tariffs, guess what happens to those vendors?
That's right.
Their business from the dealerships is going to slump as well.
That's right. Yeah.
There's about 3 million vehicles currently on lots around the country, waiting to be sold, new vehicles that is, and which is about a 3-month supply of new vehicles for dealers.
Now, some dealers might say, hey, these are going to come at a real premium because they're tariff free, so to speak. So if you buy my car, I'm going to hold the sticker price or maybe even over sticker price, because if you don't buy it, someone else will, in anticipation that the car is going to be 25% more, on the new shipments of vehicles coming in. We saw some of that with COVID as well. What do you say to those dealers that feel as though they're going to take advantage of the consumer that comes in and say, hey, I'm holding on to all the gross profit because the consumer's afraid they're going to pay 25% more, on the new products coming in?
Right. Well, I think potentially raising the price beyond sticker is a slippery slope. It's like, hey, I need the car, I'll buy the car, and I never want to see you again as a result of what you're doing to me. Is that really the reaction you want your customers to have? Look at the long game. Take care of them today. And by the way, the best, and you know this, you've had some of the most amazing sales people and dealers on there that have maintained relationship for years. And they didn't do it by taking advantage of a customer at a time that they absolutely could.
That's right.
Instead, what they did is they gave that customer the service they deserve, the respect they deserve, a reasonable price that they had to pay, with reasonable profit built in, but not taking advantage of them. What happens is they come back with their family members and years and years and years of purchasing cars. Everything is at risk if you choose to look at the short game. Go long.
Right. That's right. I couldn't agree more. Those customers that are coming into the service department during times like this, any recommendations there? I mean, these are customers that might even be thinking about trading their vehicle in soon. Obviously, there's a lot of dealers that market to that service lane customer. What should the dealers be aware of on that?
Well, parts most likely are going to go up, especially if they're imported. So there's going to be a cost to that. But guess what's not going to go up is the hourly service charge. Your hourly rate.
Right.
There's no tariff on the worker here in America.
That's right.
So I think once again, transparency is important in showing. I mean, even to a point where you can actually show them this is where the price increase is happening. Our tires don't cost us $400 anymore. They cost us $650. And, once again, you've got the service charge in there, and the profit at a dealership, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you may have taught me this over the years, the profit is nice on a new car or even a used car, but it's really nice in the service department. That's where we get customers to come back again and again and continue to do business with us. So I know things are going to go up. Maybe there's a way to create a promotion where it says, look, we're going to do everything we can to save you money. Why don't we lock in? And by the way, there's a lot of uncertainty, so I'm not sure how comfortable dealers are going to be able to do this. But I know on my car, I locked in my next 2 years worth of service, regular routine maintenance, my oil changes. Because I know what they cost, and there was a little bit of a discount they gave me if I would pay in advance. That's nice to have money in the bank.
Prepaid service agreements. Come back. And they do. They work well. They sell them in the F&I department under the prepaid service contract. Right. And you're right. That does cap it, and they're very profitable up front. And you know that customer is coming back to your dealership, because you know that's the only location that those service agreements are good for, usually, right?
And every time they walk into that dealership, it is an opportunity to reinforce they made a good choice to do business with you.
Right. Yeah, the customers coming in today are going to be a little bit, I should say a little bit, but the anxiety is going to be running high. They know they need a new vehicle, whether they lease it or buy it. They've heard all of this going on, on the press every single day, 24 hours a day, about the tariffs and cars costing 25% more across the board. It would seem to me, too, that dealers should be much more aware of that, to take their time with customers and to service them in every other area that they can. Right? I mean, rather than hurrying them up, as sometimes happens in a dealership, right?
Right. Become a consultant, not just a salesperson. Help them understand. Tell them, hey, I know across the board, everything's increased by, let's just say 25%. Now, what we're trying to do is, obviously we are in business to make money, but this is what we've done. We've talked to the people like we talked about earlier in this segment, we've talked to our vendors and we've talked about how we can save money for our customers. So everybody can, even though there's going to be a little bit of pain, everybody will experience a little bit less pain.
Yeah.
And be very transparent. Once again, I want to emphasize, even though everybody else is doing it, it doesn't mean you have to talk about everybody else doing it. What are you doing for your customer that's going to make a difference, build trust, build confidence, and get them to come back to buy the car? And also, as my favorite Austrian philosopher, Arnold Schwarzenegger says, you want them to say, I'll be back.
That's exactly right. No question about it. That's exactly what we want. Shep Hyken, customer service and customer experience expert, all around great guy, New York Times best-selling author, and an incredible speaker. So for those of you out there that are looking to light up your audience on the next event, here's the guy that you want. So Shep, thank you so much for stopping by CBT News. I know a lot of dealers will get a lot out of this. So thanks so much.
Well, thanks for having me. I can't wait to be back.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick. Tariff talks across the auto industry. We're not just reporting, we're leading the conversation. Catch the smartest takes and the sharpest minds only on CBT News.